Hey everyone, I'm meteorologist Addison Green here at KHOU with the latest update coming on in from the National Hurricane Center about Tropical Storm Beta. And this information just came in at the top of the hour showing that we have not seen too much changes going on with regard to this tropical system. It still has winds sustained of 60 miles per hour, gusts still going around 70 miles per hour, still jogging at a slow pace of roughly 3 miles per hour. You can probably walk faster than that. And meanwhile, it has moved just a touch closer towards the Texas coastline. Around 7 a.m., it was at 200 miles off the Galveston coastline. Now it's 180 miles offshore, and we can see it right there. It's looking kind of lopsided. There's a general area of circulation, and much of the thunderstorm convective activity is up to the up and right side of the storm system. South and west, not much going on. That's because it's still being interacted with some dry air at the surface as well as wind shear up aloft. And you can see right here in satellite radar imagery that we are eventually starting to see the effects of beta coming across the Houston metro area. That's because we are starting to get that atmosphere to get a little more saturated, starting to get that rain to push on in across the metro. And you can see that rain coming on in off the Gulf, going across the south, down across southern portions of Louisiana, and now curling on over across the Texas border, coming on this way towards the Houston metro area. So if you're in Montgomery County, you can probably look outside and see those clouds starting to get a little thicker. If you're down towards, say, Galveston County, Chambers County, look outside and it's looking like it's raining right now, or it will be very, very soon. But we are going to still be tracking this system over the next several days as it slowly gets closer and closer towards the Texas shoreline. There's that dry air in place I mentioned, indicated by the brown highlighted color, and that came in after that cold front that came through Friday morning that really ushered in a nice, much more comfortable air mass across the area. And now, as a result of that cold front gone, we are slowly starting to see that dry air getting just overwhelmed with tropical moisture pushing in more and more over time across Louisiana, and now starting to make its way up across portions of southeastern Texas. Hence, eventually, beta will win on out against the battle with the dry air. You can see those rain bands starting to push on in past Winnie going down the I-10 corridor. So looking outside in the Houston metro area, you can look outside our studios right now, and I can see those skies looking a little bit darker. If you're around Katy, you still have mostly sunny skies. Brenham, lots of sunshine. Same thing towards El Campo, Huntsville as well. Galveston, you got the rain coming on down, and the rain will progress from east to west over time. So here's the latest information on Tropical Storm Beta. It was originally going to be forecasted to go to around Category 1 status for a hurricane with winds in excess of 80 miles per hour. Because of that interaction with the dry air and the wind shear winning out the battle against Beta's strength, we're keeping it at a tropical storm status, but don't be fooled just by the status. Oh, it's just a tropical storm. We've seen our fair share of tropical storms over the years across the Gulf, across the southeast portion of the country, being impacted by just tropical storms with heavy rain and flooding situations. So don't pay attention to the status of it. Beta can still be a potentially devastating and damaging storm system. Tropical storm warnings have been allowed to be pushed further inland away from the coastal areas, where on the coast you could see 10 to 20 inches, if not more, of rainfall along the I-10 corridor, down 69, maybe about 3 to 10 inch. And maybe as you go further north and west, you're talking about seeing 1 to 3 inches of rain. And the further north and west you go, maybe just some scattered showers at best. So here are the alerts going on with pertaining to beta, I should say. Tropical storm watches are up near Corpus Christi. These flashing right there, well, they're now being expanded by the National Hurricane Center, the National Weather Center as well. Tropical storm warnings, they're around Harris County, for instance, Fort Bend County, everywhere highlighted in blue. Southern portions of Liberty County, down towards Chambers County as well. North and west, you don't have that concern for tropical storm force winds, but you do have that concern with rain coming on in places like Montgomery County, for instance, Austin County as well. Flash flood watches up in effect all the way through Tuesday night's time frame. On the coast, on top of the flash flooding, you have a storm surge potential where there's going to be the chance for seeing several feet of storm surge come on in as beta gets closer and closer towards the shoreline. So looking right here at the latest future track from the National Hurricane Center right there. I apologize that these boxes overlapped. The latest update kind of just pushed all that data in at once, but we are seeing with those boxes overlapping, I can tell you that we're going to be having that system generally in the same area over the course of the next several days, which means that this portion of the storm system, this portion of Texas, will be impacted with multiple days of the wind, the rain, the storm surge coming on in, and then eventually we'll see it getting pushed out of here, beta, weakening down to a tropical depression, and then the remnant low, and head on out of town as it goes all the way up across towards the Tennessee River Valley area. But over the next several days, starting this afternoon, the rain chances will be running high and will be running for days to come. And it won't be until Thursday afternoon that we finally get this system out of here and we get the chance to dry out across the region. So let's look right here towards the future track. We can see that we have Beta offshore. Time frame is right now, to put that into your mindset for you. Then as Beta gets closer, it's going to be potentially making a landfall around Monday afternoon, the 5 o'clock hour, give or take an hour or so, because things can change, of course, as time goes on. But looking where it's going to be making landfall potentially, that's down there towards Matagorda County. So Brazoria County, you're in that right front quadrant of the storm system, which means you can get the heaviest of the rain, the strongest of the storm surge, and the strongest of the winds coming on in. We'll have those winds and rain pushing on in offshore onto the landmass right there, and eventually curling on over in towards areas further inland away from the coast. Eventually we see that system taking a right-hand turn and starting to accelerate as it's interacting with the winds aloft and getting the chance to getting kicked out of here. But nonetheless, rain will still be calming down. Not everywhere by Wednesday afternoon, but still those coastal communities still getting more chances for heavy rain as opposed to areas further north and west. Once the system moves completely out of here, we're drying on out as we head on out through Thursday night, Friday, and into Saturday's time frame. So here's the potential for rainfall totals, and we had to up these numbers just a little bit recently. We're talking about 10 to 20 inches if you're in any of those coastal counties. Southern portions of Liberty County even, you could potentially see a little bit of the cusp of that close towards that 10-inch mark. But Chambers County, Galveston County, Brazoria County, Matagorda County, all of those counties, especially right along the coast and maybe a little bit further inland, you have the potential for seeing inches of rain come on in. Down the 69 corridor, 3 to 10 inches potentially coming your way. Less so the further north and west you are away from the coast, more so closer towards the Bay Area and out near Waller, for instance, Montgomery, Huntsville. You guys getting about maybe 1 to 3 inches of rain coming on in. So some people are asking, why is this system moving in the way it's forecasted to do so? What's keeping it at a snail's pace right now? Well, looking at the winds aloft, we have the jet stream winds right here. It's that river of air aloft that moves around the planet, that steers storm systems like tropical systems. And if it doesn't really have a steering motion, a storm system, it's going to slowly crawl through an area. And that's what we have going on right now. We have an upper area of high pressure right here for you, and we have an upper area of low pressure located across Mexico. Well, that upper low is trying to pull in Beta a little bit further inland, and high pressure to the east is trying to push it over this way. The only problem is that the upper level winds not really able to steer it right now because they're not really interacting with that storm system, the upper level winds, besides just dealing with a little bit of some wind shear right there. But as we move forward, we can see that that upper area of high pressure starts to intensify, while the upper low pressure up there across towards Mexico starts to weaken. So that high pressure is winning the battle and starting to get the chance for pushing Beta a little bit further westward. Also, we're starting to see the jet stream now trying to interact with Beta little by little, especially down across southeastern portions of Texas right there. Making our way in through towards the landfall time frame roughly during the Monday afternoon hours. Now we see that high pressure system has now pushed itself further to the west, pushing right on the coattails of Beta, and now we have the upper level winds now trying to interact with Beta little by little, trying to pull it a little bit further inland. So that's where we could be seeing that forward motion of 3 miles per hour right now, maybe accelerates around 5 to 8 miles per hour as it gets closer towards that landfall, where there is that potential, like we have seen numerous times this year so far, the storm system to slightly intensify as it makes its approach towards the coastline. Heading on out past landfall, past Monday into Tuesday morning, now we have those upper level winds coming down right here. That's the jet stream right there for you. Now it's starting to interact with Beta, and watch. You're going to have that storm system now starting to make that right-hand turn as the winds aloft are trying to pick it up and move it forward over time. As that does happen, starting to shear off those upper level winds, the upper level circulation around Beta, I should say. And because it's on the landmass right there, it's starting to lose its energy, it's starting to lose its structure, starting to fall apart, weakens down to a tropical depression, then a remnant low. And these winds right there, yeah, those are really cranking up aloft. So yeah, it's going to be taking Beta and just zipping it out of town as we're starting to see a trough right there dig on down across the southern plains. And they'll start to pivot over this way, allowing us to get the chance for some slightly dry air to come on in and kick out the tropical air that's coming on in because of Beta. Visible satellite imagery over the past few hours now that we have the sun rising above the horizon. You can see that storm structure in the clouds aloft. Yeah, looking kind of lopsided. There's that general area of circulation, I should say, right there. Go ahead and make that look better. The general area circulation right there. We can have those winds going around it in a counterclockwise fashion, of course. And we can start to see that dry air still being influenced south and west, while meanwhile, we have a little more thunderstorm convective development right there to the north and east of the system. That's also where we do see those winds coming into the picture more so than anywhere else. Definitely around the center portion of circulation and northward, where you can start to see those stronger winds starting to make their way towards the coastline of Louisiana, for instance, just tropical depression status right there of an excess of 39 miles per hour. The stronger winds in excess of 58, they're still well offshore and localized just to one portion of the storm system. We're not seeing it all around, in which case it'd be a really strong, healthy hurricane we'd be talking about if that was the case. Look right here down towards the Galveston area. A few hours ago, I was showing you an H-Town rush. The picture looked pretty good. We had the clouds in the distance. We had the rough wave activity, but we did not have the rain. Now we do have the rain coming on in here. It's being blown around by winds in excess of 20 miles per hour. It's a cool, damp beach day out there in the island. Definitely not a good day to be hanging out by the beaches, especially out by the waters adjacent to the shore, because you don't want to get caught in that rough wave activity. But here, looking at Galveston with in mind, you can see that potential for storm surge to be an issue, especially down across the island further south and west. Some of those low-lying areas could be inundated with seawater right there in excess of 3 to 4 feet. Further north and east you are, towards the Boulevard Peninsula area, yeah, you're still looking at storm surge, but a little bit less, around 1 to 3 feet or so. In the Galveston area over time, we're going to watch those winds throughout the day, starting to increase. These are the sustained winds. These are the gusts, and those gusts will be going over 30 miles per hour. Then eventually, overnight, around 40 miles per hour as we continue to have beta getting closer and closer, and its wind field now getting pushed further and further across the Houston metro area. The wind forecast is a combination of the wave heights. You can see that general area circulation, that's beta right there, and now we have that push of water coming on from the offshore waters on towards the adjacent landmass right there. So in towards the Bay Area, right along Galveston Island, for instance, we're getting that wall of water pushed over across that way as the system's gradually making its approach towards land. Looks to make landfall down near Matagorda County, for instance, up near the Freeport area, and then eventually it'll move further inland and weaken over time, pushing that storm surge potential, that push of seawater right there, further to the east, allowing a westerly, northwesterly flow to come on down and try and push some of that flood water that is going to come for several areas out of the picture and push it a little bit further away from the Houston metro area. But nonetheless, it's going to be several days of that push of water coming ashore. Also, wind gust as the system gets closer and closer. I saw this pop up when I was developing this graphic. 105 mile per hour wind potential gust coming on in towards the Freeport area, right closer towards that general area where the eye wall would be with regards to beta right there. So yeah, down across that way, down towards Matagorda County, Brazoria County, you guys will get the strongest winds as we go through the time frame right there of Monday afternoon between about 2 to 4 o'clock, and then as its potential landfall comes into the picture, roughly around 5 o'clock or so. But everywhere east, up along the seaboard right there, from Freeport to Galveston towards Beaumont, I mean not so much Beaumont, a little bit closer to the coastal areas, you can see those strong wind gusts coming into the picture in excess of 50, 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour. Remember, it's just gusts, so come in waves here and there, not the sustained winds that you would typically find across the area. As we go forward, those gusts will eventually fade away as the system moves further and further away from the metro area. But over the next several days, you can certainly see we'll have to deal with beta coming in, hanging around like an unwanted house guest, and then eventually getting the chance of getting kicked on out of town. We have a 50% rain chance as you go across the metro area today, higher closer to the coast, less so for the north and west, hence 50-50. For Monday, we have to deal with an 80% chance right there as beta makes its potential landfall down near the coastal areas. Highs temperatures only in the mid-70s. We'll stay in the upper 70s by Tuesday afternoon. Tuesday morning, may I add, is the beginning of fall. For Wednesday, we're keeping those northeasterly winds around. Beta still influence the weather around us. And eventually by Thursday morning, we're starting to see the last little bits of pockets of tropical moisture still around, getting pushed out of the area, and then we should get the chance for drying out and warming up as we go out there towards Friday and into Saturday's time frame when those winds, they should start to switch directions, bringing us more of a flow down from across from the south. So after a brief break of drier air coming on in, we'll get more of that moisture to come back in across town. We'll have more updates as time goes on. Make sure you do have that KHOU 11 app on your phone so you get those push notifications as they come in straight from the Weather Center. Meteorologist Blake Matthews will have more updates as the day progresses, and the whole weather team will be keeping our eyes on this as we go forward through the next several days to come. See you guys.